Are you still using cash? Why? Taco trucks around me are cash only. Edit, should have said street vendors in general actually. Just bought a minuta and paid cash. I use cash at a farmer's markets/flea markets because most of the stands don't have card readers. Because the kid who mows my lawn doesn't have Venmo. When I see him losing money and make me spend less money SMH. I use cash for transactions I'd rather there not be a financial paper trail for. I get cash tips at work, I'll use it for lunch. I like cash cause my bank account doesn't know it exists, it's secret money. Edit. Thanks for the awards. I find it easier to control my spending if I use cash. Informal transactions. Everybody takes cash. Dunno if it's still true, but there were a couple of small restaurants in town recently that wouldn't take cards. They would take a local check, and there was an ATM in the corner. They were small enough that they didn't want to take the hit on credit card merchant fees. And local enough that people accepted it. You can't snort lines of Adderall through a Dogecoin. I use cash occasionally. Kids come to the door to shovel the walk, for example. My very rare purchase of lottery tickets. Tiny purchases, pack of gum, etc. Cash doesn't allow me to go negative in my account. Drugs and garage sales. I still use cash because I feel like I am more mindful with my spending using cash versus using a debit/credit card. Yes, I have a horrible shopping addiction. In my financial class my teacher said when you spend cash rather than card it's harder and actually sets off pain receptors in your brain. Helped so far. So I can keep a secret stash in case of emergencies. How would I pay an escort with a credit card? I don't get a prompt to tip when I pay cash, because the government be all up in my business. In Germany 80% of transactions are still done in cash. Cafes looked at me weird for having my card. Yes, because I don't like the idea of the government or banks being capable of cutting me off entirely for any reason whatsoever. To me the suggestion of a completely cashless society just seems like another ploy to give the banks and the government more control over our lives. Everyone should have some emergency cash. Nobody in Russia thought their bank accounts would be locked out of SWIFT, but it happened. What are you, a cop? Tornado hit and everyone has trees on their houses and blocking their driveways. Guys with chainsaws show up, half the neighborhood only has credit cards, when the lines get fixed, or promise of insurance reimbursement. I have cash. Guess who gets help first? Yes. Harder to track and always available. Never need to worry about systems being down or power outages. Not to mention any small businesses are hurt by the fees of processing credit and debit cards. Untraceable purchases, which sounds stupid but my tinfoil hat and I do not care. The IRS and easier to pay for people in exact amounts. Whether that's tipping someone at a restaurant who can choose to report that income as they see fit, and also when I buy something from a sketchy place that I don't want to have my credit card info at. I hate dealing with double charges and leaked information. Also, there's nothing worse when you're at a restaurant and you're waiting 1,000 years for your card to be returned with your bill. Just to buy weed. Yes, because it's anonymous. Also, my bank card doesn't work during a power outage, but my money does. Credit card processors go down. Some services only accept cash. Throwing actual cash at some problems makes them disappear quicker. Less susceptible to getting information skimmed in sketchy or insecure locations. There are some transactions I don't want trails of, because I don't want my wife to see that I stopped and got 3 soft tacos on my way home from work. Untraceable. I'm in a better place now, but in my bad times I used cash as much as a good, for the simple reason that a 20 in your wallet will be there until you spend it, while a 20 in your bank account is there until an overdraft fee or automatic payment or whatever you forgot about hits. In the worst of the worst times I always took out enough cash on payday to buy gas and food for the next 2 weeks. Easier to monitor and control spending. I only use my CC to pay certain bills and pay the balance off monthly. I use it as a backup, and for emergencies. My grandfather had stashes of cash in his house for emergencies, and my father still keeps a stack of 20s in his wallet and more at home, for the same reason. My evolution is that I usually have about $30 on me. I rarely need it or use it, but I've always been glad it's there when I do. Also, I only deal in cash when I go to Las Vegas. It's finite. So I can't get myself into trouble that way. Smile. Some places around here charge less if you use cash. Also, it seems like many smaller shops only accept cash. Not to be a conspiracy guy or anything, I normally use my card for literally everything, but the creeping scope and increasing number of businesses that make it difficult or at least inconvenient to use cash should be a cause for watchfulness, shall we say. I have no need to hide any of my purchases from anyone, but a totally cashless society will give enormous power to corporations and the government over our lives. And not just for privacy reasons either. Your money doesn't really belong to you if they can just turn it off with a flick of a switch. Cash keeps money in the community. Every time a card I use there is a fee, and it could be on the buyer or seller's end. Those fees go to big corporations because I want to. A lot of companies are charging a processing fee, and cash is the cheaper option. In my area gas is about 10 cents cheaper per gallon if you pay in cash. Yes, for my hairdresser mostly, and on the markets, helps them earn an extra buck. Yes. It is anonymous. Works when there's no network connection to my bank. Also, I have so far never seen a fee or extra charge for using cash. When in other countries there may be a conversion fee for each and every transaction. Some payment systems charge extra if I use a card that is not part of their network. Some of my favorite restaurants only take cash. Heck, my favorite pizza place only take cash. Why are anyone asking why I still use cash? Drug dealers don't take cards. Nice try, government. I will always use cash. Because Germany, because I don't like to depend on one piece of plastic/phone only. If I lose the card and or my phone on the street, at least I have money in my pockets. For small businesses and places like the farmer's market, I always use cash. Some of the transaction fees these people are stuck with can really hurt their profits. Big corporations, I don't care if they lose a bit of money, they figure that into the prices already. Also, cash can make things easier in many strange situations. Tipping the doorman to get in the club. Making a cash offer at some places will sometimes get a better price. Last week my upstairs neighbor filled both recycling bins with trash and the truck wouldn't take them. I gave $10 to the trash man and he came by and emptied them. I've also had to bail friends out of jail, and they do not take credit or checks.